Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Leif Taylor. We're about to discuss some goal planning. I sent Kevin Johnson, the other shy guy of the group, the two shy guys. Set him a goal this weekend to do some short term planning, some long term planning, so we could start mapping out some things. And so I sent that to him, and we're gonna discuss that tonight. I hit him up. What's going on, Matt? What's going on, Kev? I see that you're trying to get added in. Let me grab you here. Boom. We got you. Let me bring you in. Yeah. So traveling this weekend. I was on the road. I sent my man Jay Kevin Johnson assignment. I was like, hey man, map out your goals. I want you to send things because what I'm gonna do is just help him formulate those things and get everything cracking. So anyway, I hit up Kevin. Well, Kevin hit me up earlier, and he shot me his goals. I couldn't really see him, so he gave the suggestion, "Hey, you want to do this on live?" So you know how we do, spontaneous. We're gonna make it happen right now. So we're gonna put Kevin in the hot seat for a change and see what's going on. What's up, Jeremy? How you doing, bro? So
Oh
we're
man,
gonna see what.
it's too hot, man. Turn it down, man. The seat's getting hot over here.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just glad to be here. Two shot guys at the mic. This is your man Jay Kevin Johnson, and Leif already introduced himself. Here, Kevin is in the hot seat. I repeat, Kevin is in the hot seat, and it doesn't smell like bacon. Sorry, it smells like beef though. It smells like beef over here. I know I'm
I
offending
ain't
a lot
making
of our vegan, vegetarian friends out there. I'm sorry. Just ignore me and keep it moving. Hey, I got a joke for you though, Leif. Hey, what do you call a cow with no legs?
Oh my god. What hamburger? What?
Ground beef.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible. That's the old one. I knew it had something to do with hamburger, but you can see I'm far removed from that. I don't even really know what that's like. That's terrible
What's
though.
up?
These are
But
quintessential dad jokes in the making. So it's like the older you get, the more you enjoy those stupid jokes.
my youngest son, man, he be hitting me up, man. You know, he be get me straight on the jokes though. Make
He
sure
got
my
that joke book. He got those old school elementary joke books.
he loves them. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I figured it's been a while since we've been on, so I figured we'll come on and put me in the hot seat. When you asked me that question about writing down my business goals and getting them to you, it just made me realize that usually I do that and I hang it up on my wall on my vision board, and I didn't do that yet. And so with you asking me that question, it got me really thinking, and I didn't really have a chance to like get a segment in which I can like really get some clear thinking going on just because of my schedules. The boys,
Yep.
I got to make sure they stay occupied. It's warfare, psychological, psychological, everything, every kind of warfare you can get into. That's what it is when it comes to a now celebrating his 13th year, his 13th birthday. My oldest 13, and then my middle is 12, and my youngest is 10. So
Okay.
hold up, yeah, 13.
Uh-oh.
No, hold up,
Uh-oh.
13,
You messing up
10,
the
and
math
8.
already. Messing
Yeah,
up
I
the
know.
math already.
13, 10, and 8, and it's funny that you sent me this goals because I'm realizing when you asked the question, I had to really reorient some things and reshift some priorities, which had already taken place. I had already made the adjustment, but now I've had the time to articulate and crystallize the adjustment and why it's been made and why I am naturally moving in the direction that I'm moving in now. Uh, a
Okay.
couple of a couple of points that kind of got me going this
Hey,
way is number.
before you get going, I just want to recap so everybody knows what's going on.
Oh,
This weekend, myself, Lamar, Gus, and Sharice, we were traveling to Georgia. We were on the road, and while we were traveling, I thought about some things that I'd been contemplating. So I hit Kevin up. I was like, "Hey, Kev, do me a favor. Write down your goals and the things you're trying to accomplish. And I was doing it because I was just thinking, it's like, okay, we're talking about this stuff on a continuous basis. Let's actually write this stuff down. And what I was thinking in my mind was like, okay, I'm gonna hold Kevin accountable for these things. It wasn't necessarily meant to be live or anything like that. He's just my dude. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
let's see if we can get Kevin up and rolling. So that's the whole premise of what we're talking about right now. Kevin wrote down those goals, and we're just gonna unpack some of those, and we're gonna talk about the mindset behind it, why he was thinking this way, and we'll just start letting what happens. So go ahead, bro.
Yeah, well, I know we're on a nice little short time span, so I'll keep it short and simple, and we'll just go with right now. The only thing I really wrote down was the short term as
Yeah,
far as
yeah, we got
goes.
about 50 minutes, so you good. Yeah, we got 50 minutes. You good.
And whenever I do goals, I try to think of it in short term, mid term, long term, and I'll define that accordingly. Right now, it's short term, which means immediately. And I won't go into real
Yeah,
specifics, but I'll keep
yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah,
at a
yeah,
nice level. Meaning that the number one priority with where I'm at now, just all the circumstance is that I make sure that I am available with respect to my sons and and that I'm involved in their life on a daily basis. In the past, the way I've done this is that I try to make sure that I drop them off at school, that I pick them up after school, and that on a daily day basis, I try to stay involved in some of the extracurricular activities. And I've noticed that over the past year, that has not happened, and I'm seeing the consequence of it, and I don't like it. So I
yeah,
don't. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion, and
yeah.
I see the dominoes, I see the consequences, I can see it play out, and I see it. It's things that you know beforehand. You say, let's see if this is true. You test it, the scientific method. You
Yep, yep,
see it.
yep.
Okay, this is the way it's going. Something has to be done. So uh, it's poignant. It's timely that you asked me the question. In that the number one goal of whatever I do in the short term is that I be present in my son's lives daily, as much as far as quantity and quality. So what this has done is it's crystallized some things as far as what I need to do as far as some moves within uh, the next moments of my life. Does that make sense?
Yep, yep, for sure.
Seeing,
You should be looking up. I'm just sharing this to our other page, so I'm
okay,
listening to you.
yeah, yeah, just seeing where I'm at now and seeing some things that are being set up is making me more aware of your question is really like, okay, I see this. I see how the chessboard is being set up. Now
Yep,
I need to think strategically of how
yep.
I'm going to maneuver through this chessboard at this point in time. So the question that you asked really got me has really got me going as far as some business moves, and I wrote them down and I sent you a copy of the picture, and you said let's talk about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's any. You want to go deeper than that?
Yeah, yeah. We I want to get share what you want, what you think is acceptable to share. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily want to get too personal online. I mean, that's entirely up to you. You know, I don't care myself, but that's entirely
Right.
up to you since it is your list.
Well, number one is I looked at my time period, and some of this stuff is based on past experience, where I'm at now, and where I
Yep,
need to get back to and launch forward from that. I need to get, I need my work hours to be more controllable and
gotcha.
under.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need
So
to bring.
you want to be able to control your schedule more, your
Yes,
own personal schedule, and not necessarily that of your employer dictating it, but you want to be able to dictate your schedule yourself.
This is
Correct.
a goal that I have for myself. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yep. And then number two, the money that I make. Looking at what I've done and what I'm capable of and what's happened in the past, where I'm at now, going forward, I need to make sure that my money situation changes real
Yep.
fast.
Yep. Yep. Gotcha. So something with that. Again, and this is hard because we actually talked about this aspect of like not necessarily changing your money, but taking advantage of your skill sets, right?
Yes.
A lot
Yes.
of times, especially I know Kevin, he's a humble dude. We were talking about humility and things like that, and when you're humble, you tend to sometimes under
Value.
undervalues some of the things that you can offer. And meaning, so like, say, for example, I know Kevin's a hard worker. He has a lot of stamina, a lot of endurance, those kinds of things. He's managed projects. He has a, educational background. However, if I told him to write a resume, I'm sure he would leave out a lot of qualities that he's capable of doing. And this happens with a lot of people, right? I know myself, I fall into that. When people ask me to send a bio, I send them like two sentences. So because like in this life, you got to sell yourself, to get people that don't know you. Really, you sell yourself because the people don't know you and those kinds of things. So when you start, and again, Kevin's thing was increases his revenue, those kinds of things, can manage his time. So you have to be able to quantify the skills that you can offer. And a lot of times it's not even necessarily for someone else. You quantify those skill sets for yourself. So that way you can see where you can actually grow and make money from the vast amount of skills that you have. And again, we often underestimate those things, especially like as an entrepreneur or as a journeyman. Kevin's done a lot of different things. He has a very varied background, and I guarantee if he made a list of the things that he's done, he would forget some stuff. So this is one of the reasons why I kind of threw this question out at him, is for him to think about it, so he can really start going through the, like, okay, let me start listing these things. And even if it sounds stupid in your head, list it anyway, right? Because there's some things that we often underestimate in the things that we've done in this life, because apparently people have, up to this point in your life, you've been paid to be you, right? Meaning that somebody's been able to employ you. So if somebody's able to employ you, and goes for anybody that's watching, if somebody's able to employ you, you actually have something to offer because they see value in it, right? They see value in whatever it is you're offering, and you need to be able to see that same value in yourself so that you can take more control of your own time and start dictating your own wages and your own hours based on yourself, as opposed to somebody else telling you what they're gonna pay for a specific service. Real quick, Jeremy said, even when I'm very knowledgeable about certain subjects, I always feel uneasy calling myself an expert. Yeah, and a lot of times you gotta overcome that, because again, because if you're humble, it sounds like bragging.
Yeah.
And in resumes, you almost have to brag. And again, and this is just for job placement. And the stuff I'm talking to Kevin about is not even necessarily job placement. This is, again, just for him to be able to see those things like, okay, I can do all of these things. For example, I have a cousin, right? I've been talking with him. He does a variety of different handyman services or whatever. He's been doing it for years, like probably longer than I've been alive.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and the more we kept talking about it, it was like he unpacked a whole litany of things that he never even mentioned he could do. He's like, oh yeah, I've done that. Oh yeah, I used to work for this guy. I used to build that. I put this together. This man's put together whole houses and all the little details inside of it. But when you look at his resume of list of services that he does, it's very small. But he has like a breadth and a width of history that is unparalleled by most people.
Which goes back to the importance of collaboration, mentorship,
Yeah.
and just even allowing somebody to even pose that question. Like me allowing you to pose that question, it forced me to sit down. I was like, oh yeah, duh,
Yeah.
you have to have somebody to do that to you on occasion, because we all suffer the consequence of the system of just constantly moving, constantly going, getting caught up in the routine. It's like, hey, you need to sit down and think about this for a minute. It's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
the
Real quick,
question
Jeremy
was
said, I try to,
pointing.
yeah, Jeremy said, I try to walk that tightrope, the balance between humility and confidence. Sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit. Yeah, in these kinds of times, sometimes you overcredit yourself and then take away stuff, because that's the hardest part, right? To give yourself, I mean,
Yes,
some people find it really easy, right? But again, we
yeah,
talk about real assessments, real valuations, see where you are in terms of what it is that you need to level up on, what it is that you've already accomplished and are solid on. So there's a lot of things in between that again, the conversation with Kevin is trying to get him to talk about the things that he wants to do, and then now we're on the subject of the skill sets that he hasn't necessarily thought about. We haven't listed any of those things, but this is me talking to Kevin and talking to you at the same time about listing those things out and really unearthing that, because Kevin, it should actually be a little easier for Kevin because he's a writer. He writes a lot. And I guarantee
yeah.
he probably wouldn't even put that, if he had to think about stuff, he probably wouldn't even list that on his things that he does. But Kevin writes a
Writing.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
well,
Kevin's a
I,
writer though.
yeah, I've had to. Well, I've recently this year started calling myself a writer.
Yeah.
And like Jeremy said, you like, can I call myself that? It's like, yeah, you can. You can call yourself that. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. So that is one of the things that I've now consider myself. And when you take on that label, the funny thing is you start attracting, you start walking and moving inside that box, that label that you
Yep.
place on yourself. So I'm very mindful of that. So I do call myself a writer. I do call myself a speaker, a talker, anything else you want to say. These are skills, like you said, that I've had to get comfortable with, just calling yourself and just taking on and accepting it, and moving on and acting, just like you said, just taking it, owning it, and acting
Yep.
like it. And you will start moving and attracting those things that come with that label and come inside of that box. So, man, I do need to write that down though, for real.
Exactly. So what else do you have on your list? Because I know you said right now we've talked about
We
controlling your
talked about,
hours. Go ahead.
yeah, my controlling my hours, controlling my money, my
Yep.
time, and then also controlling the days. In the past, I've had the 4 day work week with between 30 and something hours, with all the benefits, the whole package. And the thing is, when you're in that mode, you don't really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, and now it's like, oh, okay, duh.
This is the alternative.
It's the alternative, but at the time, it was the things I was going through. I was going through divorce, going through some other things, so it was much needed, and it was the universe orchestrated to give me some room, a breathing room, and I
Yeah.
was given I was given a heads up on it before it happened. It's like, I'm gonna give you some breathing room, and I got it. And I had those a couple of months where I lived like a bohemian. I
Yeah.
lived on savings, and I just woke up and I said, so this is how people live. I woke up with, I woke up, fixed my kids' breakfast, took them to school, went to Starbucks, and just hung out. It's like, so this is what people do. Because, you fantasize about it, and then you're like, you know what? This is boring.
I actually remember during that time I hit up Kevin. I was like, "Hey man, what you doing?" He's like, that was literally his response.
So you see that, you envy it, then when you get it, it's like, this ain't
Yeah.
what it's cooked up to be. It's okay. I can understand a laptop millionaire. I see him out there traveling the world and stuff. But I got kids and I got things to think about. And like I said, my goal has shifted. My priority has shifted to my kids and the awareness that my sons, and making sure that I'm a main influence, because I see it, man. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous now. They just mumbling stuff, rap stuff. What are you talking about, man? So I see it. I see the before, and now I'm seeing the after. So it's really got me moved in that direction. So
yeah, Tiandra said pressure on coals produces diamonds. Yeah, what's your next one?
And I just wrote that down, in that I need a position that's going to have the proper pressure on me, as far as sales, as far as staying in front of people and staying sharp and articulate with my speech and thought process. And so just making sure that the position that I pursue keeps me in that mode, because when I'm not in that mode, you get lazy. I get lazy.
Yeah.
So now I know the position now. The things that I'm looking for and searching for, I know I have the direction to go in. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because this is some of the things that we've talked about in previous talks, is, again, making sure that you write down what you want out of life. And when goal setting, you have to have a clear understanding of what that is in order to properly navigate where you want to be in terms of setting the goal, because right now Kevin is talking about a short-term list. I'm sure it's involved long-term as well, but a short-term list of things that he wants to do. And while he's, trying to reconcile in his mind what those list of things are, he's really reflecting on the kind of life that he wants. And the kind of life that you want will help you dictate the kind of goals that you set if you really focus on it. So he's doing a combination of the two. And because again, you can't really, you can set goals, but they don't mean anything unless they have value behind it. And when you think about the kind of life that you want, it actually gives you a crystal clear picture of the kind of goals you need to set.
It gives you a crystal clear picture, and it shows you what you really value most. Because at first I thought, oh yeah, I'm a Gary V, I'm a Cardone, I'm a this, that. Well, I'm thinking about the old Kevin. The new Kevin is, you know what? You can't, with what you're saying and what your actions is showing, that's not where you're at right now.
Yep.
So you're just gonna have to suck that up, buddy, and just rethink about some things, which is fine. It's just, that's
because a
fine.
lot of times it's easy to get caught up in the marketing hype, right? You see the marketing hype of other people's, the lives that they try to get you to live. Like, man, what you doing right now ain't worth it. This is what you really want. But in a lot of times, those things are a facade. And as you were talking, there was a song by J. Cole called "There's No Such Thing as a Life That's Better Than Yours." And that was going through my head when you were saying it, is because we get caught up and it's like, man, I really want to live that kind of life, that fast pace, all of that. And then when you really center yourself on the things that you value, it has nothing to do with the stuff that's marketed to you to try to attain.
That's somebody else's values.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to be very, very aware of that. And again, it's easy to get caught up in the cycle. It's easy to get caught up in the flow. Yeah, go ahead.
That's like you said, it's so easy. That's why we need to collaborate. That's why you will always continually need that voice, like Leif or like whoever it is in your life. You need those few voices in the background going, "Hey, you sure this? You know where you're going? You know what you're doing?" Yeah.
Because the thing that's hard about that kind of stuff is, it's like, yeah, I hear you, but I still want it just to see. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that kind of stuff. And because I used to be that kind of person, like when I was younger, right? I remember my cousin, he would sit and talk to me about changing my life and all of that. I'm like, yeah, but I still think I'm going to have a lot of fun doing this kind of stuff, right? And then you realize it's like, man, it ain't what I thought it would be. You know what I'm saying? It is not the way, because I remember like when I was younger, I used to want to travel a lot and those kinds of things. And then I
Yeah.
remember like right after I got married, like probably 2 months after I got married, I went to Germany, France, and Turkey. And I went to those places, and the whole time I was gone, I was like, man, I just miss my wife. I don't care about this crap no more. It's just
Yeah.
like, so it's like the things that you thought you wanted. It's like I'm glad I had the experience, but it's not what I expected it to be. It didn't give me the fulfillment that it's like, oh, I want to be a jet setter, all of this stuff. Even when you travel now, and so it's like, okay, now the goal is to travel with my family, because just to get them exposed, it's really my kids more than anything, because they're young. Try to give them different experiences in life so that they won't have to be yearning for these kinds of accoutrements as they get older, so to speak. Chasing after the marketing dreams, and just like, okay, this is really what life is about, kind of stuff.
It's kind of
Yeah.
almost the same. Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of almost akin to like you have that one friend who wants to be a rapper and he's like 40 years old. It's like,
40
dude,
probably young now, because some of the dudes in their 50s.
still walk around trying to be a rapper. It's like, nah, bro, you gotta set it down and live life, real life, man. At some
Yeah,
point.
yeah. But yeah, man, it's just like, because here's the thing, though. I always do, because that was always a funny one to me, because on the one hand, it's like, if that's your dream to pursue it. On the other hand, it's like, bruh, the window might be gone. But again, if that's your heart's passion, then go for it. I mean,
Still do.
that's what I say. If it's really your heart's passion, because a lot of times the dudes aren't even, even those people don't even realize what their true passion is, right?
Exactly.
Because again, the passion is to get riches, and it's not about the music or whatever. And for some people, it's about the music, so fame doesn't really matter if it if that's what it's about. And again, you have to be true to yourself on what you really want out of it, and be honest. If you want the fame, then just say you want the fame, and then figure out how to get the fame.
Man, and that's so. If you just want the fame, that's so easy today. I mean, I just look at my youngest, and he's watching some guy named CJ So Cool. This dude's like a multi-millionaire, and I watched the show. I'm like, dude's just showing his life,
Yeah.
and he's doing pranks and stuff, and this dude's making money.
Yeah,
So
there's all kind of models to mimic, right? But again, it's
exactly,
like you have to really tell yourself, like you have to really figure out if that's what you really want. Because if
yeah,
that's what you really want, then the dedication that's behind a lot of that stuff people don't think about, right? We just do a simple, like a very, very simple type of podcast, and just setting up and turning something on is not necessarily as easy as it seems. And those people are actually out producing small little shows. So there's a
they
lot of
have
work.
teams.
Yeah, there's a lot of work behind the scenes that people don't understand, right? So again, it's just understanding what you want and what you're willing to do. Here, let me go back a little bit and
Okay,
read some of Jeremy's comments. He said, "But it's an awesome feeling when you realize materialism and consumerism isn't the driving factor for you."
that
Yeah,
is an
man.
awesome feeling.
Yeah, and as we talked about it, a lot of times that comes with age, or it really comes from being sheltered from that stuff. And so you can actually do your kids a service by disconnecting them from a lot of the things that are trying to market and service them in the wrong kind of way. Yeah, Jeremy said he's all about experiences with his family that can never be taken away. Yeah, it's
Yep,
true. It's just,
those are the
it,
things that last throughout the ages.
yeah, and it's those shared experiences. And what's funny is it's really probably even the things that you do at home that's more valuable than any of the traveling that you do with the family. It's
Those are
just, go ahead.
Yeah, those are things that they don't forget, and it has a lasting impact that lasts throughout the ages.
Yeah,
So the things like you said that you do at home matters. The shared experiences definitely matter. These are
yep,
things that we superficially online with the cloud and stuff. A lot of this stuff is becoming digitized, but
yeah,
we do it. We automatically do all this stuff organically. Even that's why it's never in our best interest to burn any bridges when it comes to relationships. Even with me and my ex-wife, we're civilized. We still talk, have conversations.
Yeah.
First and foremost, because we got kids, we have to at least be civilized. And then also, like you said, shared experiences in that there are some things that she remembers that I don't remember, and some things that just people remember that you don't remember. And it helps as far as like memory and experience in life.
Yeah, and what's funny is like you never know when those memories will be revisited. You know, sometimes it's a smell, olfactory system. It's something. It's like you come across something. It's like, man, I forgot all about. Because I have those experiences all the time, right? It's like, man, I forgot all about this person, that person. I remember when we did X, Y, Z. You know, and those things just come out of the blue sometimes. So
the triggers.
Memories are valuable, man. Just the shared experience, because really that's all we have on this earth, man. It's
that's
like
it.
when you boil it down, when you really boil it down, it's like the older I get, which is every day, obviously.
Yeah.
The more I think about the simplicity of life, the more I think about the value of life. You know, to somebody, I'm a square, so what? But when I think about it, it's like, man, I've done a lot of these superficial things that people are wishing to accomplish, and it doesn't amount to much, man. It really doesn't. And really just the taking care of basic necessities, when that's all said and done, if that's the fullest extent of my life, then is it really bad?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
it's like
exactly.
of course I have, the aspiration to do a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Yeah,
Yes, we should.
But if I don't necessarily accomplish it, is it really a bad thing? Because I can't take any of those things with me to the grave. It's like the older I get, the more I realize it's just about helping other people have a pleasant experience while they exist on this planet. Because there's people that don't give a crap about life. They could care less about your life, their life, or anybody else's. So, just try to combat those forces in the world by putting something positive out there. But anyway, I don't want to ramble on too much.
No, it's not rambling, because that's right up the alley of the list, and prioritizing, sitting down, articulating, and actually writing some of this stuff out and thinking about some of these. These are concepts that I'm thinking about as I'm putting together the list, and I'm actually writing them down. These are things that come to mind. It's like, first and foremost, I have to have a foundation of just appreciating and being grateful for the small things in life, so to speak, those simple things. As at the same time, while I pursue in my long term list, is I want to get paid to write. I want to get paid to talk, just like we're doing now. I want a team of people around me saying, we got the best live streaming going on. All we want you to do is show up and talk. These are long term things that are on my list. But in the short term, none of that, all that stuff goes to the back burner when it comes to making sure that your obligations, my responsibilities are being met. Because if I don't, my mom is going to say, she's going to let me know, you should have had all these kids in the first place if you ain't going to raise them. Right? I'm going to hear it all day. Having all these kids and I ain't raising them. I ain't got time for this. It's time for grandma to go get her groove back and have fun.
Hey, it's true though. Hey.
Yeah. So I'm always going to have that in the back of my head. So yeah.
See, Tiandra, she said that's how she feels about being a teacher. We're talking about getting older. It says not fun anymore for her. She plans on stop teaching to pursue her writing and possible entrepreneurship. Hey, when the thrill is gone, then definitely make plans to move on. Because you don't want to be a hindrance to yourself or anybody else for that matter. Once your love and your passion leaves, it shows, and you don't necessarily want to convey that to the people you're teaching or anything like that. So even, and here's something that's even novel, right? Tell the people, I don't know if it's children or whatever. Tiandra's a longtime friend, but tell them your goal. Tell them your goal. Put it out there. Be responsible in front of them. and do that, and that way it almost even pressures you to do it, because you won't even realize how much of an inspiration that'll be to them more than anything you're probably teaching them, to be
Yep.
honest.
Yep. It will be a lot. Many of them will probably look back on it and be like, oh, now a lot of stuff you don't get until you get out in the world, especially as students and teachers. You know, a lot of conversations I've had with teachers, it doesn't click until you get out into the real world. It's like,
Yep.
oh, this is what so and so meant. This is why so and
Yep.
so was the way they were. So yeah, like you were telling Tiandra, speak it. You never know. You just never know what could happen and what could come of that, especially with some of your students, and
Yep.
just being open and honest with them.
Yeah, thanks. She said, thanks, it's a tough choice. Teaching is comfortable. She said, good advice, Leif. She has seniors too. Okay, so she's in the high school.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, because the older I get, I
yeah,
said it
yeah,
again,
yeah,
the more I realize this this is not a test run. This is it.
man.
This is the life you have. Figure out what it is you want to do, and just get
Move
rolling.
in
I
that
mean, just
direction.
start putting. And I'm not saying that you have to do it overnight, that you quit today. I'm definitely not saying that. What I'm saying is start putting the pen to pad, putting the ball in motion to where you can, and set up a game plan, which is kind of what I asked Kevin to do. Set a game plan on how you're gonna get there. Set on what your goal is, and then figure out how you're gonna get there. Because right now, while you're teaching, you can still write.
Yeah,
You can figure out what the entrepreneurship goals are. Maybe it's in the writing itself, so you can kill two birds with one stone. There's a variety of ways to go about it. I mean, you can do marketing. I'm not sure if you have a background in marketing. You can write copy for websites. One of the things that I always run into is the need for copywriters. Sometimes, because I hate writing personally. It's not to say I can't do it, but I just hate it. And
just
so,
hate it. Most
I
people hate it.
guarantee that if I hate it, then there's a million other people and companies and businesses that hate it as well. So you can always moonlight at night. I don't know if you like to write advice columns. There's all kinds of different things you can do if you're willing to do it. And one of the things I talked about Friday, because Kevin and I didn't get to connect, so I was like, I'm gonna just go on live and talk about some things that you can do to be creative and de-stress your life. Is is do the things that you're passionate about without any financial gain in mind.
Yes.
Just create for the sake of creation. Who cares if it sucks? Who cares what it is? Just go ahead and start creating for the sake of creating, just to get the juices flowing, and then you'll be surprised at how many ideas come to mind. She said she started her book on education, her path to it and through it. Cool. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Again, starting is one of the hardest things to do. Tell people about it. Tell people about the process, because here's what you can do. You can start building interest in it now, from the standpoint of getting others that are interested in seeing you succeed. Because I know people always talk about haters, but guarantee that there's plenty of people in your life that want to see you succeed. So talk about it now as you're doing it. One, it'll help hold you accountable to finish it, and two, it'll build some anticipation and maybe give you even more energy to do, push a little harder on it. So
Yeah.
that would be my brief advice on that. What you guys say,
No,
Kev?
no, no, you're right on the target. You're right on the money. Specifically to Tiandra and to what you're talking about is that's one of the things I was prompted to do when
What's
I
up, Trey?
first started making that transition to be a writer. As you
Yep.
know, a couple of years back, I decided to start a blog, and I
Yep.
didn't wait till I was perfect. You know, there was a lot of times you read an article, you'd be like, "Yo, you misspelled this," or it was like, okay, you go back and fix it and you move on, right? Big deal. But the part start now, start building your audience now. So it's not going to be pretty, and what you'll find is your best material will be rough now, but your
Yep.
best material will come out now, and then you can go back and you spend the rest of your time kind of polishing and re-articulating and getting deeper and deeper in your understanding. It's phenomenal on how that works. So big ups to Tiandra. Keep doing the book and build your audience. Now I know that my first blog still, if I look, it still gets about 2,500 views a day, and I haven't touched it in like a year. It's just sitting there. And all it was just me just doing commentary on pop culture and current events from a Christian perspective. That's all it was. I
Yep, I
talk
remember
about
you
the
did.
Lego movie. I got YouTube videos of me just talking about the Lego movie from a Christian perspective. And it gets like 2,500, 70. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous to me that the amount of hits that they get compared to if I try to talk about something serious.
Take care,
Life.
Tiandra.
Yeah. Being a curious person made it. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, start now and you just never know.
Yeah, real quick, because I thought about this when we were talking earlier. Talisha brought up a great point, and I've actually been thinking about it since our last video. She said, if there's something that you want to do, we were talking about finances, right? Getting educated on finances and those kinds of things. And she was like, just look at it from a college perspective, meaning that just study an hour a day over the next 4 years, and then you'll have pretty much an agreed knowledge on whatever it is you're trying to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of that Robert Greene talks about in his book Mastery, and
Yeah.
how it really doesn't take a lot of time to become a quote unquote an expert in something, and you just have to put in the hours, and also you have to put in the practice along with you have to put in the application of that knowledge that you're getting, and know how to incorporate it into behavior, into a skill set.
See, my wife said, Shauna, she said, I've been guilty of wanting everything to be perfect before I start. I
We
still struggle with that before,
Yeah.
but I just have to override myself and start.
Even to this day, I still struggle to even just me, just asking you, hey, you want to get on this live stream about it? I had no idea how this is going to turn out. As
Yep.
far as, and he's like, you sure you want to go now? It's like, well, I'm as ready as I'm going to be. Me sitting here 10 more minutes ain't going to help nothing. So,
Yeah. For example, it's funny, going back to Shauna's comment. I had talked to a young lady yesterday, as a matter of fact, and she was asking me, she's like, yeah, I'm thinking about, do you know people, can you build some software for me? All, yada, 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 was going through that. I'm like, why do you even need that? A lot of times people want the perfect business polish without having the perfect business. And it doesn't work that way. Guess what? People buy imperfect things all the time because we
all the
work with
time.
people. The stuff we made is built by people. Think of how many things you've bought in your house that has been broken, that was broke when you bought it. Think of how many people that you worked with that you didn't like, but yet they're still getting paid to make money. Uh, all of these kinds of things, right? So to think of the notion that something has to be perfect, and a lot of times our model of what is perfect is imperfect to the person that made it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, so don't compare yourself to anybody else. Kevin, like, I admire what Kevin did, because I remember when he was doing the writing journey, he had a goal. He's like, I'm gonna write every day for X number of days, right? And I remember when he did that, and that's what he did. He just did it.
You talk
Period.
about the pressure
Yeah.
of getting up every day at 4 a.m., hammering something out. Got some kids, got to get them up, get them ready for daycare, school, breakfast. The
Yep.
whole thing. When one of the things we often forget is that when you declare a goal, life immediately
Oh,
challenges you in that
yeah.
goal, because
Oh,
we
yeah.
all have to qualify. We all have to be proven. We all have to go through that fire, not to get to the other side. And the question is always raised: do you really mean what you just said?
You really want this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you really
Yeah.
want it?
Yeah, that's so true. See, my man Isaac said for a lot of us, we need to implement a lean business development model. Basically, do what we can with what we have now, and depending on the feedback from our audience, customers, we can refine the product, service, experience on the next iteration. It at least lets us go to market and get started. Yeah, that's exactly like what he also said. He's an iPhone Rev 1 versus iPhone Revision 2, right? Same thing, right? You get Apple updates, you get Android updates all the time on your phone. When Lamar and I launched the Fiva wallet back in 2013, it was like we literally built it the night before and pushed it out the next day, like, fine tuning it. And guess what? The model that we pushed out, I don't even remember what it looks like. because we were just throwing it out there and just letting people tell us what was wrong. Because a lot of times, again, when you look at something for so long, all you can see is imperfections.
Yeah.
You know, the longer you look at it, the more imperfections you see in it. However, when you put it to a fresh new audience, they might not even notice anything that you care about. And a lot of times we hinder our own self, we hinder our own progress by
We get
not
it our
putting
own
things
way.
out there early enough, not putting things out there just to get the feedback that's necessary. You know, and I'm not saying that you put terrible products on the market, but what I am
Right.
saying is be confident in what you produce. If you know that you put effort and some quality time into it, then be confident in that. And let it be what it is, because now, I mean, with software and all this stuff, we can just change and update stuff on the fly.
Yeah. I think I've heard somebody put it this way, that if you don't put it out, you're being selfish because it's been placed in you for a reason. So don't try to get out of your own way. And like you said, don't be sloppy about it. But at the same
Yeah,
time, don't worry about being quote unquote perfect, because you never reach that perfection.
yeah. Jeremy said, "Are you about that life?" Yeah, it's what it is. It's the real. It's like, are you really about that life? Because there's a lot of things I thought I wanted to do until I started doing. I was like, man, I ain't about this life. I ain't about this life at
Yeah.
all. I don't want it. I don't care. It ain't for me.
Call me a
And,
punk if you want to.
yeah,
You weak.
yeah. I remember it's like, yeah, because but my wife said I need to change it because sometimes she said I'm too nonchalant about stuff. Where it's like, whatever, man, I don't give a crap. But even like with those things, the stuff you have goals for, the sooner you start, the sooner you'll realize whether or not you want to do it or not.
Right.
But sometimes our goals, like we think we want to do something, we say we want to do something, but like you said earlier, do your actions really show that you want that? You know, is there really an affinity to it? Are you just caught up in the marketing hype of it? Are you
Yep.
caught up in somebody else's picture painting of what that is?
Yes.
And it takes real introspection. This is your life. This is your life we're talking about. This is not something that, you know, this is not an episode of the Cosby Show. You know, we watch a lot of Cosby's in our house. It's not an episode of the Cosby Show where it's like, oh, it's a quick fix and all of this kind of stuff. No, you got to figure out if you want to do this, and if it's something that you want to do, how are you going to make it a lifestyle and a habit and something that you pursue with everything you have?
Exactly, and just specifically going back to, the root of the show is that, I really, it's become crystallized, and I really realized that I value experience more. That's high priority in my life, is experience versus anything else.
Yeah,
And I was listening to I think Gary Vee or somebody, talk about that. He said, everybody's not trying to get the Jets. It was Chamath, I
yeah,
think. He said
yeah,
everybody's
yeah,
not trying to own the Golden State Warriors. It's
yep,
okay if, there was a study done that's saying that the perfect salary, quote unquote, is 70,000 a year as
yeah,
far as on the happiness scale.
yep, yep, yep.
Um, Whether you can go into those numbers and whether you believe that or not, it just shows that some people value experience more than other things in their life. And it just really articulated that I'm one of those persons that I value experience over everything else. And right now at this point in time, man, I'll go to sleep on you in a minute.
Yeah, Kevin's hit me up plenty night. Nah, bro, it ain't
I,
happening tonight. I'm sleeping.
exactly. And it's like, you ain't about that life, bro. You ain't about that entrepreneurship. Nope, I'm going to sleep.
I'm about this pillow right now.
Yeah. So I'm all about
Yeah.
experience.
Isaac said a lot of times when we build robot demos, the execution of results in creating something slightly different from what our original intention was. Nonetheless, we have to be present on the day of showing. To our customers, they have no idea what our original intention was and they accept
Wow.
our presentation for what it is. Sometimes we're our own worst critics. Move, get out of the way. Yep. Move,
Man,
get
get
out the
out the
way. He said in
way.
his Luda voice, so I had to
Yes,
express that for
sir.
my man Isaac because he's good peoples. What's up, Jonathan? We appreciate it. He said it's a great topic. Yeah, man. Again, because you stare at it so long, it's like seeing the forest for the trees, right? You so
Yes.
close to the problem, you looking at the problem on this one tree, this sycamore tree in the forest of a
Yeah.
million trees, and like you're the only person that will ever notice it, that will ever care about it. And then it's like when you take a macro view of the whole forest, it's like, where was that scratch originally? You know, it's that kind of stuff. Uh-oh, you got interruption.
No, no, I had to look at the time because I forgot that we spring
Yeah.
forward.
We got a
Yeah.
we got a few more minutes for me anyway. It's 8:48 right now. 8:48 Eastern Standard Time, time of this recording live stream or whatever.
Just some other subtopics that kind of helped me formulate and think about this list was number one, like I talked about, what do I value most? Experience, and what are some things that are going to help me get the ultimate experience that I'm looking for? I got to get control of my time. I got to get control of my money, and I got to get control of my schedule as far as work days, actual work days. And then also I got down how. I'm not going to go into specifics on how that's going to happen, just because it's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So I'm
got you.
just thinking about the how and
But I will
some things.
definitely ask you behind the scenes though. Yeah, because I'm
Right.
definitely and I definitely want to see you accomplish the things you set out, which is one of the reasons why I asked you that in particular. It's like, okay, let's see if we can hack this system real quick.
Gotcha. Just some other things to kind of reflect on earlier, and that helped me realize the highest priority on my list right now was that today earlier we were supposed to go to Comic Con
Yep.
downtown, the convention in Lexington, Kentucky, but we weren't able to make it because some things didn't work out. So we ended up going to the Compassion experience that local church is having, Quest Community Church in Lexington, Kentucky, and
How was that?
friend, huh?
So how was that?
Oh, it was awesome, man. It was awesome. And I was just going to say that just me taking my sons, I could see the effect of the experience of they had like a little trailer, a little booth that was set up to give you the experience of what it's like to go to live and grow up in a third world country and give you a situation or a story of an actual person that
Right.
grew up in like a Kenya or Haiti or somewhere, and they grew up in come from a poverty background, and all it's designed to do is to make an impression and give you the experience, so that you come out more grateful, and then also that you make it a part of your life to give in that direction, as far as charity and some things you could do in your own personal life to help make an impact on somebody else's life.
Yeah, my wife said they may go to that tomorrow. Here,
Yeah.
me, I'm always thinking on the flip side of things, right? Here's something else though, right? Again, just thinking about the whole J. Cole scenario, there's no such thing as a life that's better than yours. Sometimes we look at it, we look at other people's situations through the wrong lens.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like, cause I've been to Haiti. I have not been to Kenya yet. I know quite a few Kenyans actually, and they love their life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I understand the whole purpose of it. And I'm not knocking what Quest is doing. I get it. Some people don't have food, they don't have water, that kind of stuff, which is a very valid thing, right? It's a very valid thing. When I was in Haiti, it was the first time I ever saw people drinking water from bags, right? Because the sewage system wasn't clean. That kind of in the location that we went to Port-au-Prince. So I got to see the shanty town in the middle of downtown, that kind of stuff. However, some of the things that I got from there were life-changing for me in terms of seeing the compassion that some of the people had for one another, seeing the way that they shared stuff. And it was an anomaly to me, but I get it. It was like, I remember when we were actually to have a picture. I have Polaroids. This is back before camera phones were around.
Wow.
I have Polaroids of like when we were in La Salle Mountains. I think that's what it is, La Salle Mountain Range. We were giving out the people we were staying with, they had made food and a bunch of kids had gathered outside of the door to get food, and they would just, some people like take 2 bites off the plate and pass it to the next person. And I was like, I'd never seen that before. But the amount of sharing that they had, even in their lack, so to speak, was still amazing to me, right? The fact that they would willingly just take a few bites, pass it to the next person, allow them to eat, then pass it on. It was no, they weren't fighting and all of that kind of stuff. So it's definitely a different perspective, and it allows you to see what the things that a lot of times you think you have to have sometimes in order to
Yeah.
be happy, in order to be content in this world. You realize that, man, maybe I'm a sucker for marketing too. You know, you know what I'm saying?
If you grow up in a first world country, you're probably a sucker for marketing.
Oh, guaranteed, because in terms of wealth, we're far wealthier than the majority of people on this planet. But
And
you
they
would
and
never
these
know it. You would never know it by the way we live, because sometimes because we're always trying to acquire more. So we got to be careful about that. I know we're talking about goals. I always get into marketing and consumerism, but we got to be
no,
very careful that we're not always looking to get more. Sometimes that urge to get more is what besets us in a mode of greed, in a scenario where we're trying to, you know, you don't think you would hurt somebody, you don't think you would try to hustle or con somebody, but once greed comes into play, you do things that you don't even know what you're capable of doing. She said she cut that out minimalistic lifestyle. Yeah, it's. I agree. I'm assuming you're pro minimalism, Delaney. Delaney, she's a fellow creative. So I
okay.
think that's what she's saying. But yeah, man, it's like, yeah, the acquisition of more can kill you. That constant wanting more things, and you
Well,
start, then you have clutter and all of this kind of stuff. Go ahead, bro.
I was going to say, well, the desire of
Yeah,
acquisition of more can kill you. But the actual act of doing that's in my mind, I think we agree that it's okay. And
yeah,
I'm just saying that because there's always a necessity for good people to control resources.
yeah. It's funny. That comment with what Isaac said is perfect. He said there's a story where a group of people had a single cup of milk. Everyone was told to take a sip and pass it around. He said when the cup returned to the starting position, it was still full. Want for
Wow.
others what you want for yourself. Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, it's that kind of stuff, man. And again, I know that there's so much pushed into our desires and our goals, and that's truly like when you start cutting out the noise, when you meditate, when you think about what you want for your life, when you want
That's what
your
happens.
goals to be. Eliminate the noise. Eliminate the noise. I know 37 Signals. They're a company. They did Rubies on Rails and Codebase or Basecamp. They have a book called Signal versus Noise, and
Hmm.
it's that kind of thing, right? Just start blocking out all the noise in your life and look for that signal, that true sound, right? Look for that true
Wow.
sound of what's calling you, what your purpose is, and those kinds of things. Focus on that when you start making your life plans and your goals, and I guarantee you'll probably be more happier than you ever been.
You'll be happy, when you pose a question to me, that's one of the things at the top of the list. Are you happy doing and living the way you're
Yeah,
doing and living right now? So yeah, like
yeah,
you said, just the posing of that question on a frequent basis helps you stay honed into the signal. Because, like you
yep,
said, we often talk about the consumerism, the noise that continually goes out. You have to be in relationship. You have to be collaborating with people who are constantly adjusting back to that signal, constantly staying on course. Talking about, in a plane, if you're 1% off, right? After a
yeah,
couple hundred miles, you're miles and miles away from your
yep,
determined destination.
yep,
So yeah, these are themes that keep running through our shows that we hope helps you stay signaled and honed in as you go about living your life. This is what Two Shot Guys and a Mic is about, helping you level up, helping you stay signaled in to that signal of your heart that's going to help keep you happy, healthy, and wealthy and well. help you live the quote unquote
Yep.
good life. So this is what we're about. This is why we have these conversations. Try to be open and transparent as we possibly can. And the internet's not too open though. I don't want you knowing my social security and all that stuff. You
We like the dude on LifeLock that got hacked. We love you too,
oh,
brother Isaac. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, we won't go there. Real quick, I'll read what Jeremy said before we sign off. He said amongst his goals are exposing his family to different cultures so that they understand that it is a much bigger than our little life. Yeah, that's definitely key, bro. That's the same goal that I have for my family. My wife and I, we try to expose our kids to as many different cultures as possible. We try to, yeah, got to get those last four in.
yeah, let me get those last food. Let me get your birthday, bro.
Yeah. So we try to expose them to as much things as possible in this life, get other perspectives other than ours, other than what we see all the time in our current media. Just seeing other people, interacting with other people can change your life, and people is what life is all about. To be honest, there's nothing better on this planet than people. I know there's probably nothing worse, but there's nothing better. And so we just try to make it each day as tolerable and as good as we possibly can. We try to be as transparent as we possibly can. We try to live out the things that we talk about. We may slip, we may fall, but we still push forward and try to make this thing the best that we can. Sign us off, Kevin. Sign us off.
All right, thanks for joining us, Two Shot Guys on the mic. This is your man, J. Kevin Johnson, with my man.
Labe Taylor.
Yes, sir. Just here, just having a little fun, trying to be open and as transparent as we possibly can, helping you level up and live the good life. Because when everybody's doing good, when everybody's eating steak, you ain't trying to grab mine. But when
Exactly.
when everybody's eating quinoa, you ain't trying to get my quinoa. For all the vegans, vegetarians out there. So we just like to have fun and laugh a little bit, just live life. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, on our website, I did post
Our Facebook page, yeah.
Yeah, on our webpage, I did a post about what are some topics and some subjects that you would like to see us, that you would like to interact with us about and have a discussion, open forum about in the near future. So if you would just leave a comment and let us know, we really appreciate it.
I just sent that link.
This is a collaborative, and we want to make sure that that we try to make this interactive, collaborative, and that you're getting some value, a return on your investment of your finite attention and life force. Whenever you watch us, you're giving us attention, life force, you're giving us energy, and we hope that the return on investment is more than what you put in. So with that, we appreciate y'all and love you.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.